Hare Krishna. Today is the 27th of June, Friday 2025, and we're continuing and Ratha Yatra Day and the disappearance day of Swarup Damodar. So most auspicious day today. Most auspicious day today. Here in Radhakund we have a big Ratha Yatra festival also. It's a little bit hot, but it's still a significant Ratha Yatra festival. So we'll begin our chapter. Agyantimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Priya Surupe Daita Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajabirupe Nijana Rupe Prabhuve Kurupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartino Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundaratati Katamba Sadapita Sada Hridare Kandare Sparatuva Sachinandanaha Yam Pravajantam Anapetyam Apaitikrityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Matayo Tarabo Vinidustam Sarvabhutam Hrivimunamatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadram Tato Mamanasti Katyena Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Naimam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Adi-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our beloved Adi-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering millions of Dandavats unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, and to all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varg, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. So Jagannath Dev ki jai, Ratha Yatra Mahotsav ki jai, Swarup Damodar Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. Yes, it's all going on today. Very special day today. Special for us also, because we're into this section of chapter 6, which is describing the ecstasy of seva. And yesterday we discussed so many personalities performing their seva, all the various parikas, Nityananda, Baladev of course, and even Krishna himself, Krishna's friends, etc. So we went through many personalities describing the bliss of devotional seva. So this is the principle, as we said yesterday, the rahasya, the secret, the mystical truth about our connection in devotional service. So describing the glories of Advaita Acharya are most important to appreciate that he is Vishnu Tattva. And this we've established at the beginning of the chapter quite conclusively. He is none other than Mahavishnu. He's that person who manifests all the creation, this material creation. And he's manifesting from Mahasankarshan. And previous to that, it was Mool Sankarshan manifesting Dwarka, Mathura, and Krishna Loka in the spiritual worlds.
So we have the line. So now we've come to this section. Yesterday, the last verse we read, and I described in length about the pastime connected with that, was Hey Nata Ramana Prishta Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhuja Dasyaste Kripanaya Me Sake Darshaya Sadidim. And in this translation here, it says, "Oh my Lord, oh my husband." And when I was reading that yesterday, I sort of jolted on it, but then spaced out on commenting on it. The word is Raman, and that's not translated as husband. It's translated here as husband, but the actual translation is lover. It's not husband. Radharani was never Krishna's husband, except when she goes as Satyabhama to Dwarka. So that, I believe, is an editorial mistake. So we should correct it in our books. It's, "Oh my Lord, oh my lover, oh most dearly beloved." This is the real translation. We chant in our Maha Mantra, Rama, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, this Radha Raman, the beloved of Sri Radha. If we think that this mantra is glorifying Balaram, that's a whole nother consideration. And if we think it's glorifying Lord Ramchandra, then it's a completely different consideration. Somebody was writing to me yesterday saying that they feel that the Ram in the Hare Krishna mantra is Lord Ramchandra. So if they want to feel that, of course, that's their prerogative, but at the same time, it doesn't really fit with the Braja gift that Mahaprabhu was giving. So we come to text 72 today. Adi-lila, chapter 6, 72.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Binda Dvakarate Rukmini Adi Yakate Mahishi Tanharayo Apanake Mane Krishna Dasi.
In Dwarka Dham, all the queens, headed by Rukmini, also consider themselves maidservants of Lord Krishna. In Dwarka, Rukmini is considered the principal queen. This was a boon bestowed upon her by Durvasa Rishi. And I think I described the other day that pastime when Durvasa comes to Dwarka, makes Krishna put sweet rice all over his body and makes Rukmini pull the chariot. And at the end, he benedicts Rukmini that you will always be considered the principal Lakshmi, the principal queen of Dwarka Dham. So the queens headed by Rukmini, this is the consideration here. So text 73.
Chaidya Mari Paitam Udyata Karmukeshu Rajesh Agnaya Bata Sakaritangri Renu Ninye Mragendra Iva Bhagam Ajvi Yutat Takshri Niketa Charanosti Mamancharanya.
When Jarasandha and other kings, bows and arrows upraised, stood ready to deliver me in charity to Shishupal, he forcibly took me from their midst, as a lion takes its share of goats and sheep. The dust of his lotus feet is therefore the crown of unconquerable soldiers. May those lotus feet, which are the shelter of the goddess of fortune, be the object of my worship. This is when Rukmini is speaking to Draupadi when they come for the eclipse, the lunar eclipse at Kurukshetra. And she's relating the pastime when she was kidnapped by Krishna, when her father Bhishmak had promised with the pushings of her brother Rukmi for her to marry Shishupal. And Krishna, in front of many armies, because all the armies had come to that city, thinking that Krishna might try to kidnap Rukmini. And Krishna very powerfully as a lion takes away his share in front of the jackals, kidnapped Rukmini. Very beautiful pastime, very powerful pastime. So this is the verse that's spoken here. Text 74.
Tapascharintam agnaya tapascharantim no, sorry. Tapascharantim agnaya swapadas parshanasaya Shakyopetyangrit panim saham tadgraha marjini.
Knowing me to be performing austerities with a desire to touch his feet, he came with his friend Arjun and accepted my hand. Yet I am but a maidservant engaged in sweeping the floor of Krishna's house. Again, these are the maidservants of Krishna in Dwarka, who are all sharing their moods in service to Krishna, even though they're his wives, but they fully feel submissive in a mood of service to Krishna. All these verses now are ecstatic verses describing about devotional service. So these queens are also expressing their actions as maidservants, servants of the Lord. In the previous verse, this verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:83-11 in connection with the meeting of the family ladies of the Kuru and Yadu dynasties in Shamanta Panchak. At the time of that meeting, the queen of Krishna named Kalindi spoke to Draupadi in this way. So this was the queen Kalindi in this verse, when Arjun came with Krishna to take the queen Kalindi. Text 75.
Atmaram syatasyema vayam vaigriha sarvasanga nivrityada tapasacha vibhurvima.
Through austerity and through renunciation of all attachments, we have become maidservants in the home of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is satisfied in himself. Purport. During the same incident, this verse quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:83-39 was spoken to Draupadi by the queen of Krishna's named Lakshmana. So all the queens are relating to Draupadi, their moods of seva in Dwarka. Text 76.
Anerakikata baladeva mahashai yanra bhava shuddha shakya vatsaladimai.
What to speak of others, even Lord Baladev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is full of emotions like pure friendship and paternal love. Baladev was a direct manifestation, the first manifestation. He also is eager for seva. Purport. Although Lord Baladev appeared before the birth of Lord Krishna and is therefore Krishna's worshipable elder brother, he used to act as Krishna's eternal servitor. We should understand the etiquette that in India, even if you're born if you're twins and one twin comes out, the second twin who comes out is considered the elder because they were conceived first. They are always to be respected as the elder brother. And in family life in India, that elder brother holds great prestige and position over the other brothers. This is the way the culture is arranged. It's very beautiful. In the spiritual sky, all of Vaikuntha planets are predominated by the quadruple expansions of Krishna, known as the Chatuvyuha. So we've been extensively through the Chatuvyuha, describing Nityananda Ram. They are direct expansions from Baladev. It is the singularity of the Supreme Lord that everyone in the spiritual sky thinks himself a servitor of the Lord. According to social convention, one may be superior to Krishna, but factually everyone engages in his service. Therefore, in the spiritual sky or the material sky, in all the different planets, no one is able to supersede Lord Krishna, or demand service from him. This is the beauty of the dynamic of love itself. Love means service. Service means love. On the contrary, everyone engages in the service of Krishna. As such, the more a person engages in the service of the Lord, the more he is important. And conversely, the more one is bereft of transcendental service of Krishna, the more he invites the bad fortune of material contamination. Very beautifully written. The more he invites the bad fortune of material contamination. In the material world, although materialists want to become one with God or compete with God, everyone directly or indirectly engages in the service of the Lord. The more one is forgetful of the service of Krishna, the more he is considered to be dying. Very beautiful language. Therefore, when one develops pure Krishna consciousness, he immediately develops his eternal servitorship of Krishna. Servitorship to Krishna. I'll read that again. Therefore, when one develops pure Krishna consciousness, he immediately develops his eternal servitorship to Krishna. Jivera Sarupoi Krishnera Nitidas. We are eternal servants by constitution. When we rebel against that eternal nature of ourselves, we just invite inauspiciousness in our lives as soon as we turn away from service and seek service to ourselves in the form of indulgence in trying to get some material pleasure from this world. It always leads to disaster ultimately, dissatisfaction. Text 77.
Tenhona parake karane tasa bhavana, Krishna tasa bhave vinu ache kona jana.
He also considers himself a servant of Lord Krishna. This is Baladev. Indeed, who is there who does not have this conception of being a servant of Lord Krishna? Text 78.
Sahasra vandane yenha sesha sankarshana, dasa dahe dari kore Krishna re sevana.
He who is Shesha, Sankarshan, who has thousands of mouths, serves Sri Krishna by assuming 10 forms. So we should see that Baladev Prabhu, he has 5 different rasas in the 5 principal rasas. Even in conjugal rasa, he has the form of Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Sri Radhika. So he performs seva in that mood. In Sakya Ras, he's Krishna's friend. In Dasya Ras, he's Krishna's servant. Vatsalya Ras, he's Krishna's brother. In Shanta Ras, he represents Shesha and the creator of the worlds, etc. So Baladev Prabhu, and in also Sankarshan and Mul Sankarshan. So in all these ways, and it's saying he serves Krishna in 10 forms. So this is very beautiful to consider. Text 79.
Anantam Brahmande Rudra Sadashivar Amsa Guna Avatara Tenu Sarvadeva Avatamsa.
Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadashiva and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a guna avatar, qualitative incarnation, and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. Qualitative, the guna avatar, the quality of ignorance, tamagun. Purport. There are 11 expansions of Rudra, or Lord Shiva. They are as follows. Akaipat, Abhibradan, Virupaksh, Raivata, Hara, Bahurupa, Deva Shrestha, Tyambaka, Savitra, Jayanta, Pinaka, and Aparajit. Besides these expansions, there are 8 forms of Rudra called earth, water, fire, air, sky, the sun, the moon, and Soma Jaji. Generally, all these Rudras have 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms. Sometimes it is found that Rudra is compared to Brahma and considered a living entity. When he's Rudra, He's like a living entity. There are 4 aspects of Lord Shiva, quite simply. There's Gopeshwar Mahadev, initially manifesting from the right-hand side of Brajendra Nandan Sham Sundar in Goloka Vrindavan. This is Gopeshwar Mahadev, manifesting to protect the Rasalila stali. And then there is Sadashiva in the spiritual realm, the eternal Shiva with Parvati in the eternal realm. And then there is Shambhu, who has the specific function of carrying the glance from Mahavishnu into the womb of Durga Ma to manifest this material world, Shambhu. And then there is Rudra, who manifests from between the eyes of Lord Brahma, when Lord Brahma becomes disturbed at his first sons, the Kumaras, at not wanting to procreate the species. They want to remain celibate. And Lord Brahma tries to check his anger at their refusing to obey their father's desire. And that anger manifests from his eyes, between his eyes. And a small blue blackish baby comes out of between Lord Brahma's eyes. And this is Rudra. He's manifested, he's generated from a mood of anger. So his name is Rudra. Anger is called Rodra, but Shivji is called Rudra. So this is the Shivji in this world, Rudra. He has many pastimes in this world, and this is Rudra. Generally, all these Rudras have 5 faces, I said that. Sometimes it is found that Rudra is compared to Brahma and considered a living entity. But when Rudra is explained to be a partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is compared to Shesh. Rudra actually is what is called a Swamsa. There is the Anksi, that is Krishna, and then there are those living entities who manifest directly from Krishna. They are called Swamsa. I've explained this before, like a compass. You open the compass. From the first circle of the compass, the point of the compass is Anksi, that's Krishna. And then you draw the first circle, they are Swamsas. They are all the avatars. And Shivji is amongst them. He is a Swamsa. And then you expand the compass more, and then the next group is the Vibhinamsas. They're separated parts from Krishna. They're all manifesting from Krishna. So the constitution of all of them is actually service to Krishna. Lord Shiva is therefore simultaneously an expansion of Lord Vishnu, Swamsa, and in his capacity for annihilating the creation, one of the living entities. As a Guna avatar, he performs the annihilation. As an expansion of Lord Vishnu, he is called Hara, and he is transcendental to the material qualities. This is why on Shivratri, we worship Lord Shivji as Vishnu Tattva, and we follow that brat of not taking any grains in worshipping Vishnu Tattva. So not all the Gaudiyas follow like that, but my Gurudev particularly was dedicated to the service of Gopeshwar Mahadev, also as Sanatan Goswami was, Rupa Goswami was. All the Goswamis would serve in their different capacities, Shivji. And so my Gurudev also like that, so he honors him as Vishnu Tattva, as that Swanksa aspect that I've just described. As an expansion of Lord Vishnu, he is called Hara, and he is transcendental to the material qualities. But when he is in touch with Tamagun, he appears contaminated by the material modes of nature. This is like Rudra. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam and the Brahma Samhita. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, it is stated that Lord Rudra is always associated with the material nature when she is in the neutral, unmanifested stage. So that is the Pradhan. This is when Shambhu impregnates that stage. But when the modes of material nature are agitated, he associates with material nature from a distance. He's the Lord of Durga Devi. In the Brahma Samhita, the relationship between Vishnu and Lord Shiva is compared to that between milk and yogurt. Milk is converted into yogurt by certain additives, but although milk and yogurt have the same ingredients, they have different functions. So we know that milk can be transferred into yogurt, but yogurt can't be transferred back again into milk. So milk is the principle, that is Krishna, that is Vishnu. And then it's transformed into yogurt. This is the verse. Similarly, Lord Vishnu is an expansion of Lord Shiva is an expansion of Lord Vishnu. Yet because he is taking part in the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, he is considered to be changed, like milk converted into yogurt. In the Puranas, it is found that Shiva appears sometimes from the heads of Brahma. This is the pastime I just described with the Kumaras. And sometimes from the head of Vishnu. The annihilator, Rudra, is born from Sankarshan, and the ultimate fire to burn the whole creation. So that whole fire that is burning the creation is manifested ultimately from Sankarshan. In the Vaya Purana, there is a description of Sadashiva in one of the Vaikuntha planets. That Sadashiva is the direct expansion of Lord Krishna's form for pastimes. I already described Sadashiva in the spiritual realm. It is said that Sadashiva, or Lord Shambhu, because they're both manifesting the same principle of Vishnu Tattva, is an expansion from the Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha planets, Lord Vishnu, and that his consort, Mahamaya, is an expansion of Ramadevi. That's very interesting. So Ramadevi is the consort of Mahavishnu. So her expansion is Mahamaya. That is why it's saying that the Jyoti, the light of the glance that is carried by Shambhu, is arranged by Ramadevi. Ramadevi is the consort of Mahavishnu, or Lakshmi. Mahamaya is the origin or birthplace of material nature. So this is a very large topic, but we've discussed a lot of these points as we've been going through. But the principal point that's manifest or being spoken here is the attitude of service. Lord Shivji is service. Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu. He's considered the greatest Vaishnava because of his service mood to the Vaishnavas, to Vishnu. Text 80.
Teno karina Krishnera dasya pratiyasa nirantara kyahet Shiva muni Krishna dasa.
Translation. He also desires only to be a servant of Lord Krishna. Sri Sadashiva always says, I am a servant of Lord Krishna. So this is why Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada went into this description about Lord Shiva, just to help us again hear the Shiv Tattva. We have to hear these tattvas many times, repetitively, to fully absorb them. Text 81.
Krishna prema unmata vivala digamba Krishna guna lila gaya nache nirantara.
Intoxicated by ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, he becomes overwhelmed and incessantly dances without clothing and sings about Lord Krishna's qualities and pastimes. This is Lord Shiva, completely intoxicated in service to the Lord. Text 82.
Pitamata guru saka bhave kainenaya Krishna prema swabhave dasya bhave sekaya karaya.
All the emotions, whether those of father, mother, teacher, or friend, are full of sentiments of servitude. That is the nature of love of Krishna. All these 5 rasas, they're filled with the mood of service. Service is everything here. It is not proclaiming the greatness of the servant themselves. It's proclaiming the greatness of the service itself. It's in the service that we're focusing, not on the servant, but more of the service that the servant is performing. You see the distinction? It's that devotional potency in the service which is performed by the servant.
Eka Krishna Sarve Sevya Jagata Ishvara Arayata Shabatanra Seva Kanchu Kanuchara. Lord Krishna, the one Master and the Lord of the universe, is worthy of being served by everyone. Indeed, everyone is but a servant of his servants. That mode of service. Oh. Se Krishna Avartrina Chaitanya Ishvara Ataiva Arasaba Tanhara Kinkara. This is text 84. That same Lord Krishna has descended as Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, therefore, is his servant. Not everyone, therefore, should be his servant. They are, by nature, by constitution, his servants. And when we follow that constitutional inspiration, that is our true nature. When we turn against that inspiration to serve, that is contrary to our nature, and therefore troubles will come. Text 85. Kehamane mane sabatan radasa yena mane tara hoye se pape nasha. Translation. Some accept him, whereas others do not. Yet everyone is his servant. Yes, some will accept this and some won't. It's like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, who is a devotee? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, everyone is a devotee. Some people know it, and some people don't know it. But everyone ultimately is a devotee. Even those who we consider now are demons, they are still their soul. That is devotional. And I explained previously in the Lagu Bhavatamrita by Rupa Goswami that even if one has a desire to merge into the Brahmajyoti, Sayuja Mukti, still the illumination from his soul is going to enhance the Brahmajyoti to some degree, an atomic degree. So still that soul is actually serving the Lord, because that's his original nature. He has to serve the Lord. We can't avoid that service. So if we wholeheartedly grab that service when it's offered, or seek that service in our lives, then we're going to have very auspicious fortune. Purport. When a living entity forgets his constitutional position, he prepares himself to be an enjoyer of the material resources. That's dull, jad anand, dull pleasure. Nothing can really be satisfactory for the spirit soul. The spirit can't enjoy matter. And the spirit, when he's trying to enjoy matter, he'll just become useless. Sometimes he is also misguided by the thought that service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not absolute engagement. This is ultimately like the Devas. They worship the Brahman because they're worshipping their spiritual master, Brihaspati, who is described as being Brahman realized. If someone is Brahman realized, it indicates that they are focusing on that effulgent light, which is impersonal, rather than service to the object. In the Brahmajyoti, there's no sambandha. There's no awareness of a personality. There's just the all-absorbing, tranquil, beautiful, warm, loving light. But the focus is on the individual self. There's no object. There's just the subject there residing in the Brahmajyoti. It's impersonal. The qualities of the Brahmajyoti are described as Gyan and Vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. And these are not direct attributes of a personality. We've described this before a number of times. In other words, he thinks that there are many other engagements for a living entity besides the service of the Lord. Such a foolish person does not know that in any position he either directly or indirectly engages in activities of service to the Supreme Lord. I've just described that in the sense of even if you merge into the Brahmajyoti, you're still serving the Lord. Actually, if a person does not engage in the service of the Lord,
All inauspicious activities encumber him, because service to the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, is the constitutional position of the infinitesimal living entities. This is the absolute truth. This is the absolute reality. If we can develop the faith and shraddha in these scriptures, in hearing this Caitanya Caritamrta, and deeply imbibe these principles, our devotional service will develop rapidly. And then we will not have any material difficulties actually in our lives, because we will always be relishing the bliss of seva internally. Even if something is very difficult externally, but if the mood for service is constantly uppermost in the consciousness, we're always going to find some service in some way to humanity, but with a mood of bringing them to Krishna. In any sense, to Guru, to Hari, to Vaishnavas, we're always going to find some opportunity for this service. Because the living entity is infinitesimal, the allurement of material enjoyment attracts him. Because the living entity is infinitesimal, it's very, very small. He can be overwhelmed by the illusory energy of Maya and feel that, yes, I can seek my fortune there and get some satisfaction there. It's like, though, Prabhupada says, trying to take milk from the nipples on a goat's neck. You see these lumps of flesh, and trying to get milk from there. There's nothing there. He tries to enjoy matter. This was the whole principle we had in unpacking that Sankaracharya thesis with Baladev Vidyabhushan's Govindavasya, just previously a few days ago, trying to establish that matter is the principle, whereas spirit is the principle. If that is resolutely understood in the consciousness, then we can't turn to matter for satisfaction in any way. And the link with the Supreme Spirit is only in service. This is what all these verses are saying. They're all pertaining to this link, I said yesterday, like this golden thread of devotional service. But when his dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, he no longer engages in the service of matter, but engages in the service of the Lord. In other words, when one is forgetful of his constitutional position, he appears in the position of the Lord of material nature, Lord with a small l of material nature. Even at that time, he remains a servant of the Supreme Lord, but in an unqualified and contaminated state, as I just explained. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, everyone is a devotee. Some know it and some don't. Caitanya Radasa Muni, Caitanya Radas, Caitanya Radasa Muni, Tanra Daserdas. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. Text 87. Etabali Nachekaya Hunkara Gambira Krishnika Sila Acharya Haina Shustitira. Saying this, Advaita Prabhu dances and loudly sings. Then at the next moment, he quietly sits down. Text 88. Bhakta Abhimana Mule Se Balaram Se Bhave Anguta Tandra Amksa Gyan. The source of the sentiment of servitude is indeed Lord Balaram. Balaram is the first manifestation. Sankarshan, everything is manifesting from him. The plenary expansions who follow him are all influenced by that ecstasy. Just like Shri Radhika, she manifests so many millions or billions of gopis to serve Krishna. They're all manifest her kaya vyuha. They're all directly coming from her mood of intense desire to satisfy Krishna, to satisfy his calm, it's described, to please his desire for pleasure. And Radharani is totally immersed in this desire of pleasing, of satisfying Krishna. And all her manifestations are exactly the same. Similarly, from Lord Balaram, Sankarshan, all these manifestations, expansions, they all have the same hunger to please the Lord. Text 89.
Tanra avatara eka Shri Sankarshan Bhakta Bali Abhiman Kari Sarvashan Kshan.
Lord Sankarshan, who is one of his incarnations, always considers himself a devotee. Lord Sankarshan. Text 90.
Tanra avatara ana Shri Yukta Lakshmana Shera Mera Dasya Tenu Kaila Anukshana.
Another of his incarnations, Lakshman, who is very beautiful and opulent, always serves Lord Ram. Text 91.
Sankarshana avatara Karan Bid Shaya Tanhara Hridaya Bhakta Bhave Anuyaya Yai.
The Vishnu who lies in the causal ocean is an incarnation of Lord Sankarshan, and accordingly the emotion of being a devotee is always present in his heart. Text 92.
Tanhara Prakasha Veda Aveta Advaita Acharya Keyo Mano Vakya Tanra Bhakti Sadakarya.
Advaita Acharya is a separate expansion of him. He always engages in devotional service with his thoughts, words, and actions. That's the principle. Thoughts, words, and actions. So our actions and our thoughts and our words are always endeavoring to fully absorb ourselves completely in devotional service. Then the material energy cannot touch us in any way. Text 93.
Vyakya Kahi Muni Chaitanya Anuchara Muni Tanra Bhakta Mani Bhava Nirantara.
By his words he declares, I am a servant of Lord Caitanya. Thus with his mind he always thinks, I am his devotee. Advaita Acharya is thinking this. Text 94.
Jala Tulsi Diya Kare Kayete Sevana Bhakti Paricharya Sabha Tarila Bhavana.
Translation, with his body he worshipped the Lord by offering Ganges water and tulsi leaves, and by preaching devotional service he delivered the entire universe by his power of delivering Shuddha Bhakti to the world.
Prithvi Darena Ye Shesha Sankarshana Kaya Vyuha Kari Karena Krishnara Sevana.
Shesha Sankarshan, who holds all the planets on his heads, expands himself in different bodies to render service to Lord Krishna. Text 96.
E Sabha Hoye Shri Krishnara Avatara Nirantara Teki Sabara Bhaktira Achara.
All these incarnations of Lord Krishna, these are all incarnations of Lord Krishna, yet we always find that they act as devotees, direct incarnations of Krishna, always acting as devotees. Text 97.
E Sabake Shastre Kahe Bhakta Avatar Bhakta Avatara Pada Upari Sabara.
The scriptures call them incarnations as devotees, Bhakta Avatar. The position of being such an incarnation is above all others. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in different incarnations, but his appearance in the role of a devotee is more beneficial to the conditioned souls than the other incarnations, with all their opulences. So the incarnation as a devotee is more attractive to see the path of devotion. When they manifest with their full opulences, their demonstration of devotion is difficult to comprehend. Therefore, Advaita Acharya doesn't manifest his mystical opulences extremely. Neither does Mahaprabhu. Sometimes a conditioned soul is bewildered when he tries to understand the incarnation of Godhead with full opulence. Lord Krishna appeared and performed many uncommon activities, and some materialists misunderstood him. But in his appearance as Lord Chaitanya, he did not show much of his opulences, and therefore fewer conditioned souls were bewildered. Misunderstanding the Lord, many fools consider themselves incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the result is that after leaving the material body, they enter the species of jackals. So Prabhupada is putting it down here. Persons who cannot understand the real significance of an incarnation must attain such lower species of life as punishment. Conditioned souls who are puffed up by false egoism and who try to become one with the Supreme Lord become Mayavadis. They support the illusion of Maya. This is the bewildered living entity. Text 98.
Ekamatra angsi Krishna angsa avatara angsi deki jestya kanishta acharya.
Lord Krishna is the source of all incarnations, and all others are his parts or partial incarnations. We find that the whole and the part behave as superior and inferior. So the whole is superior and the part is inferior. It is so simple. It's as Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj explains at the beginning of every single chapter of this Adi-lila. Even fools and children can understand this tattva, actually. It's so simple. But if our false ego is too excessive, then it's difficult. Then we can't. We can't climb over that obstruction of the false ego. So Guru will assist us, but when we hear these truths, it will help erode that false ego. Text 99.
Jesta bhave amsite hoya prabhu gyan kanishta bhave ante apanate bhakta abhiman.
Translation. The source of all incarnations has the emotions of a superior when he considers himself the master, and he has the emotions of an inferior when he considers himself a devotee. These are very beautiful contemplations. Purport. A fraction of a particular thing is called a part, and that from which the fraction is distinguished is called the whole. Okay? Simple. Therefore, the fraction or the part is included within the whole. So simple. The Lord is the whole, and the devotee is the part or fractional part. Actually, we as Jivatmas are vibhinamsa, like I've said, separated parts, always. That is the relationship between the Lord and the devotee. There are also gradations of devotees who are calculated as greater or lesser. When a devotee is great, he is called Prabhu, and when he is lesser, he is called Bhakta, or a devotee. The supreme whole is Krishna, and Baladeva and all Vishnu incarnations are his fractions. Lord Krishna is therefore conscious of his superior position, and all Vishnu incarnations are conscious of their positions as devotees. Very beautiful. If we don't ever hear this description, if we don't ever appreciate these teachings, how can we extricate ourselves from the material illusion? This material illusion is so strong. It's devastatingly strong. Within a single second, we can be just submerged. Text 100.
Krishna re samata hoite bada bhakta pada atma hoite Krishna re bhakta hoi premas pada.
Translation. The position of being a devotee is higher than that of equality with the Lord, for the devotees are dearer to Lord Krishna than his own self. Purport. The conception of oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is inferior to that of eternal service to the Lord, because Lord Krishna is more affectionate to the devotees than to his own personal self. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord clearly says, 9.4.68, this is about Durvasa pastime.
Sadavo hridayam mayam sadunam hridayam tvaham mad anyate jananti naham tebhyo manag api.
The devotees are my heart, and I am the heart of my devotees. My devotees do not know anyone but me. Similarly, I do not know anyone but my devotees. This is the intimate relationship between the Lord and his devotees. How beautiful. Let me read this again. It's so beautiful. The devotees are my heart, and I am the heart of my devotees. My devotees do not know anyone but me. Similarly, I do not know anyone but my devotees. Text 101.
Atma hoite Krishna bhakti bada karimane, ihate bahuta shastra vachana pramane.
Lord Krishna considers his devotees greater than himself in his connection with scriptures, and in this connection, the scriptures provide an abundance of evidence. Text 102.
Na tata me priyatama atma yoni na sankara na cha sankarshano na shri nivatma cha yata bhavam.
Translation. O Uddhav, neither Brahma, nor Sankar, nor Sankarshan, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own self is as dear to me as you. What a beautiful verse. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 14, 15. We should mark it in our minds. This last part of this chapter 6 is filled with this topic of service. And very often we can reference this and read it again and again, publicly also. It's very healthy to actually hear these truths. Text 103.
Krishna samaine tanra madur swadana bhakta bhave Caritamrta madhurya charvana.
The sweetness of Lord Krishna is not to be tasted by those who consider themselves equal to Krishna. It is to be tasted only through the sentiment of servitude. Text 104.
Shastrera siddhanta e vigyanera anubhav muda loka nahi jane bhavera vaibhav.
Translation. This conclusion of the revealed scriptures is also the realization of experienced devotees. Fools and rascals, however, cannot understand the opulences of devotional emotions. Purport. When a person is liberated in the swarup form of liberation, sarupya form of liberation, having a spiritual form exactly like Vishnu, it is not possible for him to relish the relationship of Krishna's personal associates in their exchanges of mellows. What a wonderful description. This supports the understanding that in Vaikuntha there are four types of liberation: Shasti, Samukya, Sarupya, Samipya. And the result of that liberation is you have a four-armed form exactly like the Lord. So it appears that you're like equal to the Lord. But what are the rasas in Vaikuntha? Shanta ras and dasya ras only, and a little flavoring sometimes of sakya ras, but principally these two rasas, shanta and dasya. So this is just what Prabhupada said there, completely making it very clear. Also, I've described before in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami describes Kumar when he goes through these different worlds, and he's not satisfied because he's not able to engage in direct service of the beloved of his heart, which ultimately is Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar. He doesn't know the identity of Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar. That's the beauty of this wonderful book that Sanatana Goswami has given us. That Gop Kumar, he's searching directly for that link of devotion with that mood from his heart. He's searching for that connection of Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar through all the different worlds. When a person is liberated in the Sarupya form of liberation, Sarupya, this means having the same form as the Lord, having a spiritual form exactly like Vishnu, it is not possible for him to relish the relationship of Krishna's personal associates in their exchanges of mellows. The devotees of Krishna, however, in their loving relationships with Krishna, sometimes forget their own identities. Sometimes they think themselves one with Krishna and yet relish still greater transcendental mellow in that way. Like the example of the cowherd boys, they'll wrestle with Krishna and defeat him. They'll actually exhibit a superior energy to Krishna, and Krishna will relish that. But it's all in a mood of service. People in general, because of their foolishness only, try to become masters of everything, forgetting the transcendental mellow of servitorship to the Lord. We're trying to become masters of our future. We're trying to plan what we will do next week, what we'll do the week after. And we've left out the ingredient of how Krishna is the ruler of this world, controlling everything. He can change any situation in a moment. So if we become too attached to our small plans and schemes, etc., then we're going to become frustrated if they fail. So we should consider always accepting Krishna as the supreme controller and live in a sublime, Sharanagat, surrendered mood to him. Then our lives will be completely successful. Where does fear come from? When we become absorbed in the material energy and think we're the controllers. Bhayam dvitiya biniveshitam syat, isatupatasya viparyeyo shmiti. When we're trying to be that Lord of the creation. When a person is actually advanced in spiritual understanding, however, he can accept the transcendental servitorship of the Lord without hesitation. And we see in the life of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada so many examples when he demonstrated this, of being the complete submissive devotee to the Lord. In so many instances there are of his submission to the Lord. This was how he was able to produce this ISKCON, this Hare Krishna movement all over the planet, and influenced so many lives, because at every turn of the page he knew he was the servant of the Lord. He says many times, if there's any credit to my success of preaching to all these Western people, all the credit has to go constantly to Krishna. Everything is Krishna's credit. Nothing is for me. Text 105 and 106. Bhakta Bhava Anikari Balarama Lakshmana Advaita Nityananda Shesha Sankashana Krishnara Madhurya Rasamrita Karipana Se Suke Mata Kichu Nahi Jane Ana. Translation: Baladev, Lakshman, Advaita Acharya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Shesh, Lord Sankarshan taste the nectarine mellows of the transcendental bliss of Lord Krishna by recognizing themselves as being his devotees and servants. They are all mad with that happiness and know nothing else. So we've already established the Vishnu Tattva. They are in fact Vishnu Tattva themselves, and yet they're all relishing that service to the Supreme Lord, even though they themselves are Vishnu Tattva. Text 107. Anyera achuk karya apane Shri Krishna apana madhurya pane hoila shastrina satrishna. Translation: what to speak of others, even Lord Krishna himself becomes thirsty to taste his own sweetness. Text 108. Swamadurya aspadite karene yatane bhakta bhave vinu nahe taha aspadane dana. Translation: he tries to taste his own sweetness, but he cannot do so without accepting the emotions of a devotee. Purport: Lord Sri Krishna wanted to relish the transcendental mellow of a devotee, and therefore he accepted the role of a devotee by appearing as Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 109. Bhakta Bhava Angikari Hoile Avatirna Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rupe Sarva Bhave Purina. Translation: therefore, Lord Krishna accepted the position of a devotee and descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya, who is complete in every respect. So the Lord has manifested to taste that service, ultimately to himself. He wants to taste the moods that Radhika is relishing by serving him. He takes that bhav and kanti of Sri Radhika so he can serve himself. Most exceptional, most extraordinary, most amazing. Only the Lord can think of such an amazing situation. 110. Nana bhakta bhave karina swamadurya pana purve kariyache e siddhanta vyakhyana. Translation: He tastes his own sweetness through the various emotions of a devotee. I have formally explained this conclusion in the 4th chapter. Purport: Lord Chaitanya, who is Sri Gaurahari, is complete in relishing all the different mellows, namely neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, parental affection, and conjugal love. By accepting the ecstasy of different grades of devotees, he is complete in relishing all the mellows of these relationships. Text 111. Avatara ganera bhakta bhave adhikara bhakta bhave hoite adhika shuka nahi ara. All the incarnations are entitled to the emotions of devotees. There is no higher bliss than this. Purport: All the different incarnations of Lord Vishnu have the right to play the role of servitors of Lord Krishna by descending as devotees. When an incarnation gives up the understanding of his Godhead and plays the part of a servitor, he enjoys a greater taste of transcendental mellows than when he plays the part of the Supreme Godhead. Text 112. Mula Bhakta Avatara Sri Sankarshan Bhakta Avatara Tanhi Advaita Ganan. Translation: The original Bhakta Avatar, Sri, is Sankarshan. Sri Advaita is counted among such incarnations. Purport: Although Sri Advaita Prabhu belongs to the Vishnu category, he displays servitorship to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as one of his associates. When Lord Vishnu appears as his servitor, he is called an incarnation of a devotee of Lord Krishna. Sri Sankarshan, who is an incarnation of Vishnu in the spiritual sky, known as the Greater Vaikuntha, is the chief of the quadruple incarnations and is the original incarnation of a devotee. Lord Mahavishnu, who is lying in the causal ocean, is a manifestation of Sankarshan. He is the original personality of Godhead who glances over the material and efficient causes of the cosmic manifestation. Advaita Prabhu is accepted as an incarnation of Mahavishnu. All the plenary manifestations of Sankarshan are indirect expansions of Lord Krishna. That consideration also makes Advaita Prabhu an eternal servitor of Gaura Krishna. Therefore he is accepted as a devotee incarnation. Text 113. Advaita Charya Goshanira Mahima Apara Yanhara Hunkare Kaile Chaitanya Avatara. Translation: The glories of Sri Advaita Acharya are boundless, for his sincere vibrations brought about Lord Chaitanya's descent upon this earth. Text 114. Sankirtana Paricharya Shaba Jagat Adi-lila Advaita Prasade Loke Premadana Paila. Translation: He liberated the universe by preaching Sankirtan. Thus the people of the world received the treasure of love of Godhead through the mercy of Sri Advaita. Text 115. Advaita Mahima Ananta Ke Para Kahite Se Liki Ye Sune Mahajana Hoite. Who can describe the unlimited glories of Advaita Acharya? I write here as much as I have known from great authorities. Text 116. Acharya Charane More Koti Namaskara Iche Kicho Aparada Nalabe Amara. Translation: I offer my obeisances 10 million times to the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya. Please do not take offense at this. Text 117. Tomarama Hima Koti Sumadra Agada Tahara Ihyate Kahi Ebada Aparada. Translation: Your glories are as fathomless as millions of oceans and seas. Speaking of its measure is a great offense indeed. Text 118. Jaya 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 Shri Advaita Acharya Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Arya. Translation: all glories to Shri Advaita Acharya, all glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the superior Lord Nityananda. Text 119. Due shloke kahila Advaita Tattva Nirupana Pancha Tattva Vichare Kuchi Sune Bhaktagana. Translation: thus in 2 verses I have described the truth concerning Advaita Acharya. Now, O devotees, please hear about the 5 truths. Panchatattva. Text 120. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yara Asha Caitanya Caritamrta Adi-lila Krishna Das. Translation: praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, following in their footsteps. Sri Advaita Acharya Goswami Ki Jai. Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, O Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, O Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gau Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Rathayatra Ki Jai, Swarup Damodar Goswami Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.